Welcome to Business Authority Radio, bringing you insights from today's thought leaders, professionals, and influencers. With your hosts, Neil Howe and Craig Williams.
Welcome to another edition of Business Authority Radio. I'm Craig Williams, and I have the pleasure and the honor to be having a great conversation with Anthony Strayhorn of StrayFit. Anthony, tell me a little bit about you, your background, and how did you go from engineering to fitness?
Yeah, so I started working in corporate America in 2005, right out of school, and I had 4 internships in college, so I had an idea about what the corporate life would be like. And during that time, I found out that it wasn't very balanced in the aspects of what I was seeking to do. So I said to myself, I was like, I'll give myself 10 years into that experience. And I think by that point, I'll be ready to do something different. Well, 7 years later, we're into it. I had left and started my business January 20th, 2012.
And the name of that business was?
StrayFit.
Okay.
ATL.
Okay. So I get the stray part. That's part of your name. But the fit. Tell me the difference between health and fitness. Because I'm pretty familiar with the fitness in the health community. But tell me the difference, because a lot of people don't know. But tell me the difference between health and fitness.
Yeah. So for me, fitness is about performance, about moving the body, exercising, engagement. Whereas in health is about how to restore, renew, and heal the body. So it's about how to restore, but also how to move what you are restoring. Gotcha.
Yeah. So that's interesting. You know, coming from corporate America, did you ever want to be an entrepreneur or business owner? Or
interesting enough, I used to want to own my own grocery store, like a natural, organic,
a Whole Foods
store, like a Whole Foods, or like a Sprouts, something like that.
Exactly.
So that was what my initial entrepreneurial goal was, or dream was. And then that morphed to something a little bit more intimate, more socially engaging, where I worked on people's health, but in a way that engaged with them versus just, hey, buy these organic apples or buy, locally farmed, locally raised fruit and all that. And that's still awesome. I still support that. Go CSAs.
Exactly.
So, but that changed and shifted for me at some point.
So back to the engineering and the corporate world. What about the imbalance in that environment kind of, provoked you to move forward?
Well, just the whole environment was a lot of times just work, produce. And, people's conversation was just all about like, let me just work more hours. Let me just do a little bit more. Let me answer one more email, one more meeting, and I'll have everything done. I won't have to worry about it on the weekends. And then once they go through that email, that other meeting, then something else comes up, then something else comes up. And it was like, oh, this is a never ending cycle. And for me, it was just like, I just wasn't interested in that. I was more so interested in like, wanting to travel the world, to see cultures, wanting to eat foods with other people who don't speak the same language as me, and I was just like, I don't think I can do this if I have to accrue time called PTO in order to travel the world.
Gotcha. So tell me about this as an engineer. That's pretty broad. Okay. So can you tell me a little bit more about what type of engineer you are?
So my degree is in chemical engineering, and with that, I did a lot of design work, designing power plants.
Wow.
So
power plants.
And
interesting.
The sector I was in was renewable energy technology. So, and that was actually under power generation. Power generation deals with like how to utilize resources to generate power. So, for example, places like Georgia Power or other utility companies have power plants that basically give us what we see here around us, these lights. And I was working for a Swiss engineering firm, and they were practicing or designing these types of power plants where you could utilize renewable energy sources such as trash, such as sludge, things that are readily available but are renewable in the way they're produced or available. And the goal was to minimize the usage of fossil fuels, which obviously add more pollutants and harmful things to our environment. So I would basically design equipment and systems that would be implemented into a grid system, tied to a grid system, so that you could produce cleaner energy.
So what part of that would you say you were passionate about? I mean, you were learned in there. I mean, you went and got a degree, right? So there had to be something that drove you to finish and complete that. Sure.
Well, I was always into the aspects of environmental, sustainability, trying to help keep our world more sustainable, cleaner, and ecologically balanced. It's funny how that ties back into.
Yeah. That's interesting. I'm listening to you and I'm hearing things like sustainability. I mean, we all want to sustain the positives of our life. We all want to retain the energy that we can for ourselves. We all want to be powerful, I would say, more so than trying to force everything, which it sounds like that's what corporate America was doing when you left it. And they were trying to force themselves into more time to create. I don't know. What were they trying to create or pursue? But it doesn't seem like it was a sustainable model that you were attracted to. So the StrayFit, I hear the Stay Fit in there, and the StrayFit there, which is, I mean,
it's like a play on.
It's definitely a play on. And staying fit, that's a sustainable model. If you stay fit, then you can continue to move. You continue to produce energy at least, and that brings power. So fast forward up to today, what would you say? From what I know and what I've seen since I've witnessed and watched you. You've been consistent in growing as an individual, not so much just on the outside, but on the inside. And so that's where the sustainability part that attracted me to be inspired by you being you. But tell me about what StrayFit is as opposed to any other, fitness program or, I mean, and there's no one person that could train everybody. So there's enough to go around. But what would you say the difference is outside of just you?
Yeah. StrayFit is an experience that takes into account the whole picture of taking on your business, taking on your family, taking on yourself, and seeing it all in this collective experience. And you might look at it as like a game. And the idea for me is to help people see that there's always a bigger game than just playing the role of being a father or the entrepreneur or whatever role that you do day to day.
Husband for you now.
Yeah, husband now for me, so there's so many games, and sometimes we have to be mindful about where to dial back or where we need to increase our input or engagement with it. So thus intuitively trying to find that balance between performance, but also self-care.
Gotcha.
So,
when we come to life and business, unless you're an athlete, professional athlete, we don't usually like to use the word play. Tell me about how you are able to bring that into what you're doing without it not being taken lightly.
Yeah. So the idea of playing creates a more soft effect with the approach because, the word work is a synonymous with like rigor and like never ending, like when will this end? But when you play, it's like time collapses.
Gotcha.
And the lightness comes over you. This childlike spirit reawakens. But it's all a perspective. It's just a way of seeing it.
Okay.
And it's a state of like experience that you get to just by changing the way you look at your engagement with work.
Wow. So it seems like there has to be some type of transformation within a person's thought patterns, their consciousness.
The psychology.
The psychology, which I'm glad I took in high school.
Yeah.
I think I did some in college, but anyways, I digress. So how do you do that without making a person feel as you're training them or playing with them like they're not one of your subjects on a couch?
Yeah. Well, I'm always about trying to offer empowering perspectives. You know, I like to use the analogy like I can bring you to the water, but I can't make you drink. And I'll always remind people that I'll give you lots of tools you can use, but I can't make you use them.
Yeah, yeah.
And more recently, I've actually intentionally talked about this 80-20 ratio that seems to be very much a effective model in any types of like performance yielding kind of capacity.
And that's all around us, whether it be relationships, business. I mean, getting up out of the bed, you have to do 80% of something.
To get a consistent yielding of whatever you're looking to get. Yeah. So what I tell them is like, if you can follow 80% of what I coach and advise you on, and the other 20% you can kind of like experiment with your own thoughts or like not take me seriously or just do whatever, then I think we can have a comfortable balance with getting what we both want, with your results and the aspects that I want to get out of the relationship with my client or customer, whatever that is.
Gotcha. So it's not my way or the highway.
No, because then that puts me in a place of like trying to force the coaching experience versus just allowing it to be. Yeah. You know, it's like it's a flow. Yeah. It's an ebb and flow. Yeah. And that's really where I find the most peace, and the client will as well, or anybody involved with coaching and training with me, you know. And it's kind of been like a tweak and adjustment kind of like approach. You know, it wasn't always like that. I was a little bit more like kind of my way or the highway in the very beginning, just because I was still trying to learn my way. How to be with it. And also figuring out that it actually is more vital to be able to be a better listener than someone that instructs and points fingers. Because when people feel like they're heard, or feel like they're understood, they open up more. They feel safe to allow themselves to be vulnerable. Gotcha. It's getting to those deeper parts of the roots for why people are, you know, gaining weight or depressed or not fulfilled or not, you know, wanting to do more than what they can do.
Yeah. So you being a performance enhancer, and I'm definitely one to have witnessed you influence and being an influencer of professional athletes, just individuals who are wanting to sustain a lifestyle that gets them to the optimum life that they can have. Tell me what is the biggest challenge that you come up against in your business as an authority? I mean, because you're doing more of inspiring than having to coach or encourage. And of course, I look at inspiration as something that you do when you're out front being who you are, not so much saying, hey, I'm inspiring you. And so I've watched you from afar and I've watched you up close, and seen the influence you've had on those around you. But tell me what one of the biggest challenges is in your business or within yourself to keep you balanced in your business.
Yeah. So, I have these moments where, there'll be moments of frustration when my expectation of where I feel the client needs to be or should be, whatever, doesn't always manifest that way. It might be, they're not as conditioned and within this level of strength, or they haven't dropped this many number of pounds or whatever. That gets a little frustrating because I always look at myself as like my clients are like a representation of me. So sometimes I get caught up in that, like, okay, so you're not the best example for my work. Gotcha. Or my coaching. But you know what? When I've actually talked to my clients and I, kind of express my concerns, or just when we address different milestones in the stages of coaching, I find that most of them they're more at peace with the fact that they feel more empowered within themselves, they feel like they have more tools to utilize, and that in time they'll make those deeper decisions to shift, which will thus create the byproduct of the weight coming off.
Wow.
So I think sometimes as trainers, we want to have this fleet of people that look like Amazonian athletes or like the Olympic looking stars, but people are dynamic. Yeah. And that's something that it's not something that you can always understand logically, but you just have to accept and be at peace that when people are ready, it'll happen in divine time. Yeah. So,
I mean, and you work with a lot of entrepreneur and business owners as well. So it's not so much what a lot of them are looking for is more something where they could sustain building what they're building, so that they can continue to serve other people in their, whether it's a service or make sure the products endure the test of consumers. So it's more of they're just coming to you pretty much to almost just stay in the game, literally, of life. And business and all their other roles that they play. So how often are you able to see more than just the body that's in front of you when you're helping them to sustain or build their power levels, so to speak?
Yeah, so I always equip my clients with other things they can utilize when they're not with me, such as this accountability app called the Balance Chart. And it allows them to still do some things throughout the week. Some of it's physicality, some of it's not. Some of it's, stuff like meditation. Some of it's stuff like, stretching, or maybe doing a couple of push-ups here and there, or a 1 mile run or something like that. So they're constantly working on their body, but also their mindfulness, how the body plays into the ability to be able to keep on, running more seminars, hosting more workshops, traveling more, still maintaining the tasks and responsibilities within the roles that they take on. And that is all a bigger game that we're all playing. So we're tweaking and adjusting all the time. And that's the thing. Balance is the space that's like a fluctuating energy. And if you wanted to say that the line of perfection is a straight line, balance is how quickly you stay close to that line, but not quite on it.
Correcting. I mean, the ebb and flow is not as much ebby or flow. It's just,
It's a more consistent, flow close to that line, but not completely on it.
I mean, because life is not like that. Right. And even if you look at a body of water, there's always, especially rivers, there's rocks, there's fallen trees or whatever, and there's no straight line there. So I could see how, and in business, there's never, we'd like for every time we put a product out or a service out that people pay us and go get another, and it just keeps on going like that. But, you have inventory issues, you have personnel issues, you have a number of issues. So I definitely like that model. And I think I do subscribe to that model. Tell me a little bit about this, one of the communities that you're an influencer in. It's a very unique community because there's a lot of accountability, and most communities aren't built around accountability. Even our churches doesn't seem, and I grew up in the church, but or in a spiritual environment. But tell me a little bit about how this community has influenced you and StrayFit, and how you influence others consistently.
So the community is called the YourDay BALANCE Game, and to describe it as an idea, I would say it's a health and fitness platform powered by love and balance.
Wow!
And within that, there's the physical fitness. There's the emotional, social, spiritual, and mental fitness as well. And those aspects are almost like, or you can be described as the unseen aspects of the iceberg in the ocean of life. So the tip of the iceberg is the physicality, it's the performance, it's all the doing, it's all the accolade, But below that, it's the health. It's the aspects of ourselves that we don't readily see within ourselves or other people.
Yeah.
But they exist.
Yeah.
They're the undergirding dynamics that create the output of what we see physically.
Yeah, when I go to Whole Foods, I don't ask what their balance sheet is. I'm looking at the produce or
Exactly.
So
and so the whole community is built around how do we, find an experience where we can always increase experiences of loving ourselves, others, thus experiencing magic where we're influencing ourselves to touch someone and give them, rub on their back or a word of encouragement or the space to, share something that's very vulnerable to them or, so it's about working out. It's about sweating. It's about the doing of things, but also about how do we love ourselves in the same moments.
Gotcha.
Instead of just competing with everything, so.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit more about how you see the investment of education and your engineering. Share with me how that has ebbed and flowed and pretty much helped you correct in your business, even though you're not in the corporate world anymore. It's still a part of who you are in engineering results for businesses and business owners.
Sure. Well, in the corporate world, my experience helped me understand the value in the soft skills, being able to talk to people, work with groups of people, understand the psychology that exists within all of us. And there's a silver lining in that everybody wants to feel recognized, they want to feel understood, they want to feel valued, they want to have a voice. So that is a big part as far as the foundation for building trust and a safe space for people to convey why they're here, to help them train, why they're here. Instead of me telling them, hey, just do this, I'm going to fix you. It's more like, let's talk, let's go on the journey. Yeah. And along the way, we'll pick up a tool here or there to try to fix, or not fix, just utilize to further our journey. And it's philosophical in a way, but it's also very grounded too.
Yeah, I would say so. Your body grounds you no matter how much you get out there and thought. Exactly. Your body's there to tell you a truth about something. Exactly. So, yeah.
I always say that your body tells the truth about the aspects of your health and fitness. Because everything we do, every thought we have, every environment that we're surrounded around, foods we put in our bodies, always have a footprint in what shows up in our body. And it's pretty cool when you start to see it within several hundred subjects or clients, and it really is a interesting thing.
Wow. So what's next for StrayFit?
So I've been on this kind of like campaign to expand my brand, expand my marketing of myself, and to just be more proactive with, being more digital, being on the digital plane more often.
Gotcha.
That's the game. That's the overarching technology that's really pervasive in today.
It's another energy, right?
Yeah, it's another energy. Yeah. So I've been doing more of that. I'm figuring out too how I want to grow or what I want to expand into. I'm definitely interested in doing seminars and workshops around integrating themes of, best business practices to mindfulness to whatever.
Corporate wellness.
And tying it all into a bigger game, a bigger picture. So that people see that there's a correlation between health and wealth. There is a correlation between healthy employees and healthy profits.
Most definitely. We're finding that out more and more each day.
These biometrics that exist are real.
All that, so. Yeah, well, that's awesome. Yeah. Why don't you tell us what you would say to the 10 years younger? Because they say overnight success takes at least a decade. So let's go back 10 years. And what would you tell a 10 years younger Anthony Strayhorn
Yeah.
In this path that you've been on?
I would follow your heart. Follow your heart. Surround yourself around people who you are inspired by, and always remember to take care of your body. Because no matter if it's 20 years from now, we're going to still have a body.
Yeah.
Take care of your body.
It's going to determine a lifestyle for whatever business or venture or relationship that you're in.
Sure. Yeah.
So I would agree with you on that one for sure.
Yeah. And don't be scared to put the work in. It's just, people, sometimes it's not always a hard grind. Maybe it's a soft grind.
Yeah.
But
it's going to be a grind.
Yeah.
What I've found, in this, I don't think it's unique to this country. I think anywhere you go, if you're living, there's a grind. Yeah. I think that's wise advice, Anthony. Yeah. Tell us how we can get in touch with you. We'll have it in the show notes, but tell us how people can get in touch with you. How would you like them to reach out to you? And
Sure. My social media is StrayFit ATL on Instagram and on Facebook. I have a website, anthonystrayhorn.com. My email is strayfit@gmail.com. So I'm on LinkedIn. I'm pretty sure if you Google search me, all those will pop up.
Gotcha.
So
the Strayhorn.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Well, remember that name, folks, and I appreciate your time. I appreciate you sharing.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on the show.
You've been listening to Business Authority Radio with Neil Howe and Craig Williams. To learn more about the resources mentioned in today's show or to listen to past episodes, visit businessauthorityradio.com.